Every year, our planet suffers more than 800 events large enough to be called natural disasters. What is the one thing that response to every single one of those disasters needs immediately? Right, clean and safe drinking water. What do disaster response teams do now to supply water after disaster? We use water bottles. During a disaster response, each survivor needs about 8 half-liter bottles of water each day for drinking and food preparation. That's about a gallon per person per day for basic survival and for simple hygiene to lessen their risk of disease. So let's do the math. A gallon is about 4 liters, so 8 half-liter bottles. Now we need to get the water there somehow. Currently, we rely on military and commercial airplanes to fly it in. Each C-130 can fly in around 4 tons of water. That's 7,700 half-liter water bottles on each flight. That's enough water for roughly 1,000 people for a day. The planes then have to do it again the next day, and the next, and the next. But wait, why can't people just drink from the tap? Well, several reasons. The most common reason is that municipal water sources that deliver tap water rely on filters and water treatment that need electricity, and electricity is often the first thing lost during a disaster. Remember 2005 and Hurricane Katrina leaving New Orleans without power for weeks? Or the images of Manhattan dark after Hurricane Sandy in 2010? Or the earthquake in Haiti that left the capital without power for months? And just recently in the Philippines after Super Typhoon Haiyan, much of Tacloban is still without power. Our disaster response team members were in all of these disasters, and we've learned that power and water are always two of the highest priorities. Another reason people can't drink from the tap after disaster is that in most developing countries where people are already really vulnerable, especially in disaster, there isn't tap water that's safe to drink even in the best of times. So now we know we can't rely on municipal water sources for clean and safe drinking water after a disaster. Well, what about drinking water from rivers, lakes, or streams? Unfortunately, these water sources are usually contaminated before the disaster, and sometimes even more so immediately after, with human bodies with overgrown algae, bacterial blooms, gasoline and diesel fuels, dead livestock, pesticides and fertilizers, and heavy metals like lead, cadmium, arsenic, and mercury. So this water is very likely to make anyone drinking it very sick. So we're back to water bottles as the only viable solution, right? Well, maybe not. We have a better plan. We have put together a small and efficient water purification system that has now been extensively tested both in the laboratory and in the field. We can now take water from almost any freshwater source, no matter how contaminated, and produce between 500 and 1,000 gallons of clean and safe drinking water every day. Our system, which we call the Disaster Shield System, or DSS, is built in 3 stages. The first is a 4-stage filter that takes out most of the big stuff. That is followed by a 5-stage photocatalytic process that truly purifies the water, removing bacteria like E. coli, viruses, protozoa, fuels like gasoline and butane, pesticides, fertilizers, and a broad range of other chemicals, and dangerous heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and mercury. As a final step, we complete the treatment process with an intense ultraviolet light to double-check that all biological organisms are really, truly, completely gone. Sounds like a huge system, right? Well, our entire system fits in just one ordinary pallet, and the core of the system is about the same size as an ordinary school desk. The water we produce with just one of our systems saves 4,000 water bottles a day. That's more than 100,000 bottles per month not littering the disaster landscape. We also save an entire C-130 flight each day, so avoiding fuel use and greenhouse gas emissions and maintenance and logistics, or just freeing those aircraft to bring in much-needed medical supplies, food, or shelter. Think of the reduction in environmental impact each of our systems allows. We can now quickly and safely deliver pure drinking water to survivors right after disaster. We bring in small, lightweight, self-contained, self-powered off-grid systems that take water from any river, lake, well, puddle, gutter, or stream and produces great-tasting, pure and safe drinking water. We reduce thirst, of course. We reduce waterborne illnesses like diarrhea, which no one likes. We reduce waste. We reduce litter. We reclaim a lost resource. We reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We free up disaster response aircraft for other emergency supplies. We're self-contained. We can operate completely off the electrical grid. We train locals on how to use our system effectively before we return home because we leave everything behind. We establish a social business before we go home to be run by local survivors, helping jumpstart the local economy while continuously improving public health. Our water purification stays in the disaster zone. For more information and all the technical and laboratory information, please go to ihs-i.com and follow the Roddenberry Foundation Disaster Response Team link.